Regular session of the New Kent County School Board, March 17th, commencing at 6 p.m. Do I hear a motion to come out of the closed session?
So moved.
Ms. Cunha has the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Reimer has a second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board.
Thank you. Doing double duty tonight, folks. Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Vaught, if you could please read the certification of closed session, sir.
Whereas the New Kent County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught. Do we have a motion to approve the certification of the closed session?
So moved.
Mr. Reimer has the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Vaught has the second. Mr. Clerk?
Right. Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Mr. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Motion passes unanimously, 5-0.
Stay with me.
All right, everybody rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on tonight's agenda is the one you guys are all here for, presentations and recognitions. Dr. Nichols, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. We're going to start with a school spotlight, and we have New Kent Middle School led by Mr. Sammy Fudge. You're going to have a beta theme tonight. So the middle school is really going to start us off. So, Mr. Fudge, the floor is yours.
I guess I can go without a microphone.
You're good.
Thank you. I want to say good evening, board chair, vice chair, board members, and Dr. Nichols. Thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you for highlighting us. We have kids doing some tremendous things in our building. And one of those pride and joys that we take great pleasure in is our Junior Beta Club. And they're led by Miss Jamie Collins and Miss Rachel Taggart. And Miss Taggart's not here tonight, but Miss Collins is. And they recently competed in a competition, state competition, in Hampton, and our kids just kind of blew everybody away. They came back with all sorts of awards. So tonight we have Miss Collins and several of our kids here that competed, and we're going to turn the program over to them and let them share. Miss Collins, can you come forward, please?
Or if you want to come up here. We have two things going on here, school spotlight and then separate.
Yeah, you're fine.
You want us to do elementary together? Or you wanna-
Yeah,
what
let's
you
do
want
it.
to do?
So, a part of beta is you do things on the fly sometimes. So, you know, you guys, we will make it work.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Jamie Collins. I am the beta sponsor at New Kent Middle School. And I have invited 4 of our 8th graders here to speak to you tonight a little bit about what beta has meant to them and has done for them as they've journeyed through middle school. And some of them have been part of beta all 3 years of middle school. Some of them go all the way back to elementary. And we have one new member this year who's going to talk about what beta's been for him this year. So I guess we'll let the kids go first. Okay, does that work? And then we'll shift to our little
Okay,
presentation.
let's do that.
Okay, so first up we have Susie Terry.
Hi, I'm Susie Terry, an 8th grade New Kent Middle School Junior Beta Club member, and I've been in the Beta Club for the past 4 years, including 1 year in elementary school and all 3 years of middle school. In my time in Beta, I've competed and placed at both the state and national level. Part of attending a state or national convention is trading pins with other Betas from other schools. So tonight I would like to give each board member one of this year's New Kent Middle School Beta pins, which represent this year's national Beta theme, Wired for Success. Leadership is a huge part of Beta, and I've served in the following leadership positions. In 7th grade, I served as our club's vice president. This year, I'm on our leadership committee, which is made up of 8th grade Beta Club members. I also have the privilege of serving as the current Virginia Junior Beta State Secretary for the 2025-2026 school year. One of my favorite memories in Beta was this year when we attended state convention and seeing our club cheer each other on. I've learned that Beta is more than a club. It is an opportunity to grow, lead, learn, and serve while staying connected to the 4 pillars of the National Beta Club: achievement, character, leadership, and service. Beta challenges us to achieve higher, lead better, and serve more effectively. I will always be thankful for what Beta has done for me. Thank you to the New Kent County School Board for their time.
Now, Susie, your dad showed me that pin, but he did not give me one.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought she was gonna run out in 5.
I get one that told you.
100% size.
Oh, I would have
Cute
given it
as
to you.
that.
too.
Next up, we have Annabella Weaver.
Good evening, members of the school board and fellow community members. My name is Annabella Weaver, and I'm currently in 8th grade at New Kent Middle School. I joined New Kent Middle School's Beta Club in 6th grade. Beta has been a big part of my life and has helped me learn and grow over the past few years. I've learned to speak in front of people with no fear, make new friends, and help others. I've also learned how to become a better person by demonstrating achievement, character, service, and leadership, which are the 4 pillars of Beta. Beta members have the opportunity to attend state and national convention and compete in various events, ranging from engineering and robotics competitions to academic contests and spelling bees to art showcases. In 6th grade, I entered color photography, which was something I was very comfortable with. But in 7th grade, I took up a new challenge and signed up for quilling. I'd never done quilling, and I'd barely even heard of it. I'd only seen some pictures. Quilling is the art of folding and rolling tiny strips of paper to create artwork. After I started doing it, I would watch videos and practice every day to get the type of shape I wanted. I worked on it every day for months. When I got to convention, I was very nervous because everybody else's quilling was very complex, but I was confident. Later that day, I found out that I'd placed. Beta taught me how to take risks. My placement in quilling led me to attend the Beta National Convention this past summer in Florida, which was one of my favorite Beta memories. Everyone at the National Convention was kind and supportive. One thing that really shaped my Beta experience was competing in Songfest, which is a musical competition where the entire New Kent Beta Club performed in front of judges in other schools. At first, I was very nervous that I'd mess up or do the wrong dance pose, but when we finally competed, I felt so accomplished. I'm more courageous now, and I'm not scared to go on stage anymore. Through the years with Beta, I've done things I don't think I would have ever done when I was younger. Finally, service is a big part of Beta. One of those memorable projects was collecting gifts for the less fortunate during the Christmas holidays. I loved that one because it felt very good to give people gifts who need it the most. Another part of Beta service is going to New Kent Elementary School to help teachers with classroom chores. I loved helping the teachers and talking to younger students about their day or what they were doing. I felt like the students looked up to me, and I wonder if they might inspire them to join Beta when they're old enough. I think it is safe to say that Beta has affected me in a very positive way. I want to say thank you to our club sponsors over the years, and especially Miss Collins and Miss Taggart for all their support. Thank you.
Next up, we have Kinsley Harlow.
I have been in Beta Club for 3 years now. It has helped me grow in ways that I did not expect. Before joining Beta, I was focused on my own goals. However, through service projects and leadership opportunities, I have learned the importance of helping others in their needs and goals. Beta has also helped me grow and become more responsible and confident, whether it is trying to balance schoolwork with activities or stepping up to lead when I am needed. Beta Club has helped me learn how to manage my time and trust myself more. Most importantly, I have grown as a person by understanding that success is not just about grades. It's about character, service, and making a positive difference. Beta Club has helped me shape into someone who strives and leads by example every day.
And last but not least, we have Thomas Carney.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carney, an 8th grade student, new Beta member, and student athlete. Beta is an amazing experience for everyone who wants to learn how to build confidence and leadership skills. For me, it helped with my confidence. Like when I practiced for Songfest at the state convention, I was very nervous. But knowing that I was with friends from others, betas helped. It also helped me with public speaking, like tonight. I learned to think about what I wanted to say and how I wanted to deliver it with a fixed mindset that I was going to do good at communicating that Beta is an amazing program for everyone. Beta's helped me keep my grades up and in check and my priorities straight because to practice Beta, you have to have good grades and participate in fun activities. The most important skill for Beta has taught me is time management. As a student athlete, I learned that I don't always have time for everything I want to do because I might have a Beta meeting or a sports practice. So Beta has taught me that if I split my time evenly, I can have the best of both worlds. I think that Beta is an amazing program for anyone who wants to learn to be a leader, learn everyday skills, and learn how to be part of a team.
We are so proud of all of our Beta members at New Kent Middle School, and when we come to the school board meeting every year and we showcase all of the great wins from our state convention. But I hope tonight you learned a little bit more about what we do in Beta day to day and how Beta helps grow these students into leaders. These four didn't blink an eye when I suggested that they write a speech and come talk in front of the school board, and that's part of what they've gotten out of Beta. They take every opportunity and they see how they're going to grow from it and learn from it, and they just jump in wherever they can to help their school and their community. And so we're just really proud of these four and all of our other Beta members as well. So that concludes our school spotlight portion.
We have another recognition, and we do want to recognize both Amy Carr and Jamie Collins. They are the primary Beta sponsors. And do an incredible job. One of the reasons we went with this format is the number of winners at the state competition will not physically fit in this room. We would actually have to move it, which is a great problem, to the high school auditorium or just tons of students and teams that have qualified for it. And it doesn't happen unless you have a staff member who's willing to go above and beyond, because I will tell you, it is not for the stipend we provide them. It is for the opportunities that they have for kids. So I don't know if you guys want to say something about the work that you do.
I'm going to turn it over to Amy, who's
Absolutely.
going to share about the New Kent Elementary.
Okay, perfect.
So our statistics, members, we have 67 active members with one sponsor. And yes, this year we definitely made a joke about the 6-7, but there's we had a lot of fun, even put it in our scrapbook. This right here is showing that we have 43 new inductees because obviously the end of each year, we send a bunch over to the middle school. We also, for the first time with me being a leader, I took 14 students to Great Wolf Lodge for our leadership summit. All of the events that we participated in qualified to go to nationals when we went. This year at our state convention, 54 students participated in the state Beta convention, and all students qualified for national Beta convention.
I don't know how that happens. That is unbelievable.
All right, so right here, just put in about, like, we do have a little bit of service and the different things that we do, but with our extra things, our top 8 musicology and quiz bowl, that means that when they took their first test, they qualified to be able to then go compete. And so they weren't having oral competitions. This year, Songfest and engineering were top 5. It was the first time the elementary school attempted Songfest, so I was exceedingly proud of them. These following ones are going to actually qualify for their individual academics. And so we had Spanish 4, Health and PE 4, Health and PE 5, Spelling 4, and Social Studies 5. I want to do a little. I wanted to give you an extra shout out to one of our students, Benjamin Layton. He, this year, just in the state, is first in Social Studies 5. However, last year, Social Studies 4, not only did he win, he won for the nationals. He is our national champion So I wanted to have an extra shout out for him. Do you want to see if it's something here?
Yeah, let's turn the clicker off. I think it's going to be haywire.
Okay, if you want to just put them up there.
Yeah,
Okay. And so I just wanted you to know like, that's absolutely amazing. And I want to backtrack and say that our fourth grader last year, which was Benjamin, and our fifth grader last year, both first place in the nation for social studies. Like, it's amazing. And he's gonna restart, so I don't know where I'm at. I'm at visual arts next. With visual arts, we do have, but it's fun seeing the pictures.
Yeah.
It would be. Yep, I just mentioned it then. So we had, digitally enhanced art, our hands-on anime, jewelry, mixed media, pottery, and woodworking all have placed. And so it's back up. You can see some of the pictures. And then you can move on. For club, we had a scrapbook. This is the first time we've ever done a scrapbook. So on the right, I do have two of the pictures. And that is what had our entire club be able to go to nationals if they want to. Team, we also first place in robotics, and this was the first time we ever entered the robotics competition. So I just cannot begin to tell you that they were able to do this robot and use the 4 pillars and they literally had their robot go and pick up pieces of the body and explain during their what it actually meant to beta.
Wow.
And if you want to click, I have one more. So just moving on now to our middle school.
Which feeds the middle school program.
Thank you. Well, interestingly enough, at New Kent Middle School, we also have 67 members.
Y'all gotta drop somebody
I
hands on
think
the
they
button.
can plan it somehow. This year, we inducted 30 new members at the middle school. Ms. Carr mentioned going to Great Wolf Lodge for the Leadership Summit. The middle school took 20 students to that event, and all 20 of them qualified for the national convention. All of you guys? Yeah, all of these guys qualified for Nationals at Leadership Summit. We had 57 students who participated at the state convention, and of those 57, 35 of them qualified individually for the national convention. However, everyone is welcome to join us as part of our Songfest team. That's the great part about having club teams and club events, that it's not exclusive to just the students who win. They can all join if they'd like to. This year, I was grateful to have a second sponsor position added at the middle school for our beta club. So Miss Taggart is my co-sponsor. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but I would absolutely not be able to be the sponsor of this club without her. Just for the safety reasons alone of sponsoring 67 kids after school. And she's a tremendous help and an equal partner, which I'm so grateful for. As far as service this year, we've done quite a few service projects. We always help with the wonderful New Kent Middle School Veterans Day Assembly each November. One of the students mentioned our holiday gift drive. We sponsored 4 individuals from the Department of Social Services and raised money and provided gift donations to be able to get every single item on their wish lists for the holidays. We support the literacy night at the middle school. We do peer tutoring. We have a project happening currently where we are collecting snack donations for Ronald McDonald House, and this will be our 3rd year working with Ronald McDonald House, both in Norfolk and Richmond, to support their efforts. So that's a charity that means a lot in our community, and a lot of our students and teachers and their families have benefited from. And we always help out with New Kent Elementary Field Day, so we're looking forward to that at the end of the month. Our Leadership Summit students did a great job. They participated in 5 different events and placed in all of them. We also for the first time had a student, Grant Evans, interview for the position of Virginia Leadership Representative, and he was chosen as one of 2 leadership representatives for the entire state of Virginia. So we're really proud of him, and he's going to continue at national convention and run for national leadership representative. That process is an impressive thing for a 7th grader. He had to take part in a panel interview and then a task where they observed how he worked with other students. And the representatives from National Beta said that Grant stood out among all of them. So he's done a great job. We're really proud of him for that. Next slide, please. Thank you. As far as our state convention, our engineering team placed 3rd. We were really proud of them this year. We've had an engineering team for the past several years, but it's been a few years that we've made it to national convention with the middle school, and you can see their tower that they built. The task was just build a tower, something so simple, but their tower was about 10 feet tall. And it was pretty impressive how they used the materials to get it up that high. They actually built it from the bottom up and added height that way. And so the judges were impressed by that. Next slide, please. Our Songfest team placed 2nd. This is the 2nd year that we participated in Songfest, and we love this event because it allows so many of our kids to get involved. Like some of the students mentioned, it pushes them out of their comfort zone a little bit, and they have a fun time doing it. We scored 1st for digital portfolio. Susie Terry has done our digital portfolio the past few years, and she scored 1st place this year doing it by herself. So we're super proud of that. Sydney Cloughton also placed 1st for dance, the solo dance category. We had quite a few visual arts winners. Olivia Davis placed 1st for drawing. That's her in the top right. And this is the 2nd or 3rd year that she's placed for drawing. Mixed media, Jackson Bazier placed 1st in the state. Recycled art, Gavin Weaver placed 2nd with his electric guitar made out of recycled parts. It's pretty cool. And 2D design, Harper Hall placed 1st for the 3rd year in a row, and she placed at nationals as a 5th grader last year as well. So we had quite a few academic test winners at the middle school. We placed 3rd for health and PE at the 6th grade level, 2nd for English 6th grade, 1st place for English 8, 3rd place for Science 7, 3rd for Science 8, 1st place for Social Studies 7, 3rd place for Spanish 8, 2nd place for 6th grade spelling, and 1st place for 7th grade spelling. So a pretty impressive list of academic winners. One final note, I want to give a shout out to Susie Terry, who spoke this evening. Susie stepped up and served this year as the secretary for the state of Virginia. She ran last year for vice president, put herself out there. Unfortunately, she didn't win the vice president position, but when another officer was not able to fulfill their position, they called Susie and said, hey, can we move you into secretary? And she jumped on the opportunity and did such an amazing job. This young lady stood up in front of a convention center full of thousands of people and didn't even blink. She was so comfortable and just so impressive up there. So we're going to see great things from her, I know, in the future. I can't wait to see where she's winds up, and Beta was the start of that for her. So we're proud of Susie, just like we're proud of all of our students, and we're just excited to share with you tonight a little bit about their successes. So
Thank you so much.
thank you for listening and
That
for
was wonderful.
inviting us.
Thank you very much.
Leading the way. Board members, now you see why it would have been a difficult task to get them all in this room.
Yes,
Yes.
that's amazing.
But we will bring our national winners back,
So
no
impressive.
matter how big a space.
Please. Yes, absolutely.
Next up on the recognitions, we're going to honor our athletes of the month. So our first athlete of the month, and Ryan, it is your choice. I can either say all this stuff about you and then you walk up, or I can do it while you walk up. It's completely your call. But I'm honored to recognize Ryan Griffith, who is the athlete of the month for her outstanding accomplishments. And I said that I had wrong. Outstanding accomplishments in gymnastics and girls indoor track. So I'm gonna give you this, you can stand this way awkwardly while I talk about it. I will tell you that there is nothing Ryan can't do. And Ryan was one of the first kids I met, young people, not kid, when I got here, and she was a fifth grader. So she's in 11th grade now. She keeps getting taller and I keep getting older. So she's working on her advanced diploma and her associate's degree right now at New Kent High School. She also attends Chesapeake Bay Governor's School. She's the daughter of Angela Griffith and the granddaughter of Will and Vanita Griffith. She competes at a high level in track. She is a jumper. She is a runner. She also plays volleyball. Like I said, there's nothing she can't do. And is one of the top gymnasts in the state of Virginia. So some of her accomplishments: competing in long jump, triple jump, high jump. She was 8th in the state in the high jump and 6th in the triple jump. Keep in mind, this happens at the same time. At the same time, she was 8th in the state in that jump and 6th in triple. She was also at the state gymnastics meet the week prior. And she placed 2nd on the floor, 7th on the vault, and 6th all around. She balances it all. I don't know how she does it. She has a 4.5278 GPA. So really proud of Ryan and her growth, and she continues to excel. And I have a feeling you'll see her next year as a senior of the month. So congratulations. Beta also stays claim. So I thought so, and I was going to weave that in, but I didn't want to be wrong this early in the meeting. I already messed up once. Our second athlete of the month is also quick on the track, and it is none other than Ethan Johnson. Although he walked up pretty slow, I expected him to be a little faster. So Ethan is a sophomore. He's working towards an advanced diploma and associate's degree as well as part of the early college academy. So board members, you see one Chesapeake Bay, you see another early college academy. He's the son of Kevin Johnson and Stacy Johnson. He's excelled in indoor track and field this season by breaking the school record.
Come on.
The school's been around for a long time. We've had a lot of athletes come through. In the 500-meter dash, he did it not once, but just to show off, he did it twice. He was ranked number 1 in the 3A region in the event and qualified for the state meet in the 500, the 4x2 meter relay, and the 4x100 meter relay. Both relay teams also set school records. So when you go and look at the track and field board, you're going to see it's sort of a name. Keep in mind, he's a sophomore. His consistency, leadership, and competitive excellence are what highlight him during the winter season. He plans to pursue the enrollment pathway. Currently, he plans sports medicine with the goal of becoming a physical therapist, and he is running outdoor.
No, I'm doing baseball.
That's right. Oh. You can still do both. Like one's a team sport, one's so congratulations, Ethan Johnson. All right, our next recognition is none other than the Addison. Addison is the New Kent High School Senior of the Month. She's a prominent member of the theater department at Thespian Society. She's the vice president of the theater governing board. She's worked diligently to earn and maintain a 4.05 GPA and has honor roll throughout all 4 years, including being incredibly active in the school. So she's enrolled in honors level courses. When we were talking about what she would talk about and do, she's a performer. So we like to do new things here. So we're going to let Addie take the floor now, talk a little bit, but more importantly, show you what makes her so amazing.
Joy, thank you.
You're welcome. How was that?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, school board members, Dr. Nichols, and guests. My name is Addison Hofstad, and I am a senior at New Kent High School, and I am truly honored to be standing before you tonight. I can't say that I've always known what I was going to do with my life, and for the longest time I bounced between different ideas, but none of them really felt like they pertained to me. I've always had a passion for reading and writing, finding comfort in the escapism that stories allowed, and now that I'm older, I've realized that I want to be the one creating such stories. That's what I really want in life, is to be able to share my ideas with others and to provide them with stories where they can get lost in ink marked pages for hours on end, just as I have.
It wasn't until my sophomore year that I started to pivot with what I wanted to do in life, even if only slightly. My experience in my English classes, especially my 10th grade honors class with Mr. Harrington, have helped me realize how much I value the subject and how vital it is to have educators who are passionate about what they teach. I have finally realized that what matters most is not necessarily what literature you study, but how you comprehend the lessons they teach and how you integrate them into your daily life. It is because of these revelations that I am planning to attend Radford University for a major in English and creative writing, with a desire to eventually go into teaching in order to help instill the same passion for literature in future generations as my teachers have done for me. It is not only my English classes that have made a significant impact on my life, however. Since coming to New Kent High School my freshman year, there has been one group and one group alone that has been responsible for helping me find who I am as a person. As a proud member of Troop 7644 and the Vice President of the Student Officer Board for Trojan Theater for the 2025 to 2026 term, I can confidently say that my experiences with the New Kent Theater Department have helped me to rediscover my confidence and sense of self. With both theater classes and extracurricular activities, I have grown as an artist, not only as an actor, but as a singer and a dancer. Theater has not only become a community where I can truly be myself, but it has grown into a second home for me and my peers. The support that I have received from my fellow thespians has helped me more than I can say. Before I close, I would like to thank Principal Strickland for selecting me as February's Class of 2026 Senior of the Month. I am genuinely honored to have even been considered for this opportunity, much less selected. I would also like to thank my family and friends for always being there for me and supporting my dreams unconditionally. I couldn't have asked for a better community to fall back on. Finally, I would like to again thank the school board, Dr. Nichols, and all of you for having me here tonight, and I cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. At this time, I would like to share a little bit of what is involved with the theater program at New Kent High School and what it has taught me over the years. As a tribute to my now deep-seated history with the arts, as well as a well-loved show I performed in under the guidance of Trojan Theater, I will be performing Four Unfortunate Souls from Disney's The Little Mermaid. Thank you all once again for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Right.
Pardon me while
And while Addie sets up, please know I've already offered her employment as a teacher in New Kent upon completion. So we closed that, Ms. Anderson.
With a big signing bonus, right?
Biggest relative, so yeah.
She doesn't know anything.
That's right.
You're right, I don't. All right, let's see. Not sure if I'm going to test this out and see if this works. Not that I really need this.
I was gonna say, you may be good.
We're gonna use it anyway. It's just gonna stay about right here. Let's see if this music's gonna work for us tonight. Maybe. No. Maybe. Maybe it is. Turn it up a little bit. With extra good music.
Addie also performed for the Virginia board, the state board.
Oh, yeah, I did do that. And
Yeah.
it's the same song.
I've seen several of them.
They're right in right there. From this show, actually. That's so funny. I forgot that was in here. All right, let's go, I suppose. Can you do that? My dear, sweet child. That's what I do. It's what I live for. To help unfortunate merfolk like yourself. Poor souls with no one else to turn to. I admit that in the past I've been a nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me well a witch. But you'll find that nowadays I've mended all my ways, repented, seen the light, and made a switch. True, yes. And I fortunately know little magic. It's a talent that I always have possessed. And for lately, please don't laugh. I use it on behalf of the miserable, lonely, and depressed. Poor fortunate souls in pain, in need. So longing to be thin, that one wants to get the girl, and do I help them? Yes, indeed. Those poor unfortunate souls. So true. I think I'm floating to my children, crying spells, there's no reason I help. Yes, I do. Now it's happened once or twice. Someone couldn't pay the price, and I'm afraid I had to rake 'em across the coals. So I'm happy or complete, but on the whole I've been ashamed to those poor unfortunate souls. We got a deal. But you'll have your man. Life's full of tough choices, isn't it? Oh, and there's one more little thing. We haven't discussed the subject of payment. I'm not asking much, just a token, really a trifle. What I want from you is your voice. But it's not my voice. How can I have you look? Pretty face. And don't underestimate the importance of a body language. The men of bed are like a lot of blabber. They think a girl who gossips is a bore. Yes, I'm Ladish, much prefer for ladies not to say a word, and after all, dear, what is idle prattle for? Come on, there's not enough impressive conversation. You gentlemen avoid it when they can. They don't inflict long on the lady who's withdrawn, and she will hold the tongue who gets a man. Come on, you boy unfortunate soul. No man, make your choice. I'm a very busy woman and I haven't got all day. It won't cost much, just your voice. You poor unfortunate soul. It's sad, but true. If you want to cross the bridge on street, you got to pay the toll. Take a gulp and take a breath and go ahead and sign the scroll. Lots and jets and now I've got our voice. The boss is alright. This poor unfortunate soul. The wings of the casket sleep. The rest was not as it matched the laryngitis. Don't say to me. Now, sing. Keep singing. That's all.
That is the Addison Hofstad.
Absolutely
Be as
amazing.
strong.
Well, I'm a little dramatic. Congratulations. I would not want to be the senior of the month next month.
We look forward to your completion at Radford and returning to New Kent.
Yes. Do not pass go, come directly back to New Kent. It is also recognition of School Social Worker Week, March 1st through the 7th. We could not do this work without our fantastic team, which includes Ms. Pam Brooks, Ms. Carolyn Kelly, and Ms. Stella Ball. So they do incredible work and wrap around our families and our staff to support each other. So we want to thank them for School Social Worker Week. And our final recognition of the evening is the recognition of youth art and music in our schools month. And we did not do this on purpose, but you got to see a little bit of the arts in action. So when you walk in our schools, you can see art and music in action. It's one of the things that just incredibly impresses me about the work, our dedicated staff and our students, and opens up pathways into all of these. So want to recognize that tonight. And with that, that concludes my recognition, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Thank you to all the students. That was very impressive. At this time, the board's going to take a recess for 5 minutes. So if you wish to leave, you may do so now. You can also hang out for a couple minutes, take pictures with this guy in front of that blue screen over there. Thank you. All right, we are back in session. The next item on the
Hey,
agenda
Mr.
is.
Chair, I would like to, before we proceed to move to business, to amend the agenda to add an item of consideration to allocate $500 from the board's professional development funds for the Reading Revolution bookmarks and to include it as an action item for board vote today.
So Ms. Dombrowski has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Cunha has the second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board to add Ms. Dombrowski's motion to add an item of consideration to tonight's agenda as she stated on the record.
You didn't remember this. Okay, so we have Mr. Dombrowski with the motion and Ms. Cunha with the second. Mr. Reimer.
Okay.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Mr. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Nay.
Okay.
Motion
Motion
passes.
passes 3-2.
So that is added to tonight's agenda at a later point in time. So now we're back to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Board members, by now you've had the opportunity to review the items listed on the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes from February 26th regular meeting, the monthly financials for the month of January 26th, as well as the superintendent's recommendations regarding the 15 personnel matters reviewed in closed session earlier this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Cunha has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Vaught has the second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board.
All right, Mr. Reimer. Aye. Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Mr. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Motion passes unanimously. Consent agenda is approved. On to new business. Dr. Nichols, the VSBA policy updates, first read, please.
Yes, sir. So we do have policy updates for you, a batch of them. Most of them have been updated with cross references and code. I do want to draw your attention to a couple of them. This is a first read, so you do have time to review and ask questions prior to our next meeting. Want to point out JFCM, which is a new policy on student cell phone and smart device possession and use. I point this out because the board took the step to do that ahead of any legislation. And it actually notes that the policy requires the school board to adopt restrictions for cell phone use in each level of school, elementary, middle, and high school. We are in year 2 of already doing that. So it's nice to be ahead of that one. You'll also note that there is a EBBC, which is opioid antagonists, is a new policy that's been created. If and when the board adopts that policy, it also directs the superintendent to establish regulations related to it. So upon an approval of the board in April, I would have a draft of that to share with you as well. So those are a couple of the highlights related to those policies. You have the summary is posted in board docs and also the red lines associated with the summaries. Be happy to answer any preliminary questions at this time. If not, or in addition to, if you have questions in between now and the meeting, please send them my way so we can work through them. The more time I have, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any board member have a question or comment or a concern?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Next on the agenda is textbook transfer and appropriation request. Ms. Morgan.
Mr. Chair, board members, Dr. Nichols. Annually, we come to you for a textbook transfer. The board maintains a school textbook fund separate of our operating fund and all the other funds that we have. We are requesting a transfer of $157,091 to be used in the textbook fund. Just a little background information. The state does provide about $315,000, and we have to match it with about $246,000. So this isn't the full match, but Mr. Miller spends other dollars out of different operating to be equal.
Any board member have a question?
Nope.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan.
Thank you.
All right, math and English curriculum adoption. First read, Ms. Kim Lawler and Ms. Jamie Hutchinson.
Chairman Dr. Nichols, members of the board, and members of the community. Kim and I come to you this evening as a first read for curriculum adoption as part of House Bill 2777.
So Virginia House Bill 277 was adopted in the 2025 regular session. Mandates all local school boards adopt high quality instructional materials. The acronym for that is HQIM. You'll hear us say that. For K-12 math, science, and history, and for grades 6 through 12 ELA, English Language Arts. You guys may remember we already did that for elementary with H&H.
This presentation focuses on English and math, as those are the two contents for which the VDOE's vetted highly qualified instructional material list has been solidified. Both secondary English and math have new materials added here. For English, this is a full adoption for New Kent. For secondary math, this is an expansion of a platform already used in the county. That is also the only fully approved resource for secondary math.
And for elementary, it will also be an initial adoption for math. For science and history, those dates are listed. Science, the adoption has to be completed by 2029. History is 2030. We are not moving forward with those as we do not have an updated textbook or HQIM list from the state yet. We are anticipating a new list. So the adoption teams for elementary were Mr. Miller, myself, our instructional coaches, K-5 teachers, 1 per grade level, our 3 math specialists, special education teachers, 1 from each building, and 3 administrators, 1 from each building.
The secondary teams were largely the same. It was just the secondary people. Kim was not on the secondary team, though I know she would love to have been.
Happy to.
Sure.
That was me, and then English teachers 6 through 12, the reading specialists who we have available at the middle school and high school building administration, and special education representatives as well. This next slide here summarizes the adoption process. As follows, this is how we could summarize the full process. As early into the process as is possible for each content and level, given when the information was available, we requested samples to share with the staff. Samples included both print materials and demo accounts as applicable. Vendors for the approved instructional materials came here to New Kent to present to the curriculum teams. The selected instructional materials were made available for review first at the schools and then taken to Heritage Library for public review, which was advertised through our communication teams. Now, this component of it under community here has a change. Originally, these materials were going to be on display through March the 20th at the Heritage Library. However, just this afternoon, the library asked us to come gather those materials to take them elsewhere. And so we have moved them to our office, the Department of Innovation and Student Services, to keep them on display there. As a result of this change, we've extended that review period to April the 10th to be able to make accommodations, since that was the last minute change. And then this brings us here to being with you all this evening as a first read to talk through our process and our why for each of our recommendations.
Great. So for math for elementary, the best choice and really the only choice is KIDM. There are other curriculums available. However, they are either not aligned to our standards or they do not encompass K through 5, and therefore we wouldn't have vertical alignment. So KIDM, according to the VDOE, is 80% aligned. According to our consortium, with some changes that have been made just this year, it is 94% aligned. We currently have KIDM in all of our schools, K through 5, with our math specialist as a pilot. The math specialists in each building share the resources throughout the planning phase of each unit, throughout looking at enrichment, remediation. These are available so teachers and specialists could begin looking at them. But due to the alignment gap and our current performance, which is doing great, as you can see in the chart, we are seeking to purchase an updated set of the K-5 materials because I referenced those changes that have been made this year to increase alignment. We want 1 hard copy set of each for each school. We also want electronic access for teachers and students, and then of course, professional development. We're going to forego the hard copies of the teacher guides because they're found online and it's easier to access, and the student workbooks. The thought behind foregoing the student workbooks is teachers can better choose which assignments best align to what the standard is and help with some of those alignment gaps. So the cost per year is just over 35,000.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Reimer.
I'm with the student workbooks. Are the teachers still being encouraged to print?
If they can print, so that way they are not assigning digitally, and
And they will not be, given the research that's been done, you are anticipating my.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
We prep for this one.
yep, no, the resources that they want students to complete will be printed and shared, but should anybody need digital due to an extenuating circumstance, that is there.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just concerned that the students would be doing their work online, which I'm very much against.
They are not.
It is more fiscally responsible for us to print the ones we need than to purchase workbooks. So
That makes sense.
But the
Makes
priority is on print and kids to be doing that.
Thank you. Versus.
Mr. Chair? Ms. Lawler, is this an added resource? So in other words, they already have a set text or curriculum that they use uniformly across K-5?
So right now, prior to us having KIDM as a pilot this year, we did not have any curriculum that was K-5. It was locally created. Things like all of our assessments have been created locally with our teams of teachers and our math specialists. So this has been the first year we've had a resource that is the same K-5, all three schools.
That's great. Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Vaughn.
so why the pilot, why the time if this is the only choice that we have?
Because I still think it's important for us to look through what areas does KIDM do really well for us.
What if it doesn't do well for us there?
Luckily, through the pilot this year, we have found that there are units that we have been able to use the resources and to supplement and provide, things like remediation in our small groups or enrichment for students already mastering content.
So what is the alternative if that's not the case?
Yeah, so the alternative is difficult because there are many curriculums that have less than 60% alignment.
So what is that? I guess what I'm getting to is outside of VDOE's list, is there any way to introduce, well, because they didn't have it. I'm talking about what they do have. Is there any way to introduce another curriculum outside of what they say, this is what you're going to use?
So there's nothing currently out there aligned to our Virginia standards. We do utilize a digital resource called Happy Numbers. That is something K-5 has access to. But math is very different than when we went through this with English, but there is less out there available.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah. Mr. Reimer.
Is there any concern that given it's not completely aligned and given our current success with that this will put us back some as we adopt it?
No, during our professional learning communities or planning sessions, the specialists and the teachers are working together to look at what do we have that has been successful?
Right.
And what does KIDM offer? How can we marry those to ensure that we're giving the students the best materials available? And that happens with each unit.
So will we be able to assess at an early stage that this is working for us?
I think we would continue to look at we give end of unit assessments for every unit. I say we continue to look at those. We already track that data, so we would continue to do so.
So you'd see it early on if they were, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, have you already identified some specific areas where this would really benefit?
Yes, so we have been able to identify both areas that are benefit. For example, third grade graphing.
Okay.
That is something that we didn't have a ton of resources for. They're hard to create, right? That's challenging. But KIDM had great materials.
Great.
They've also been very receptive to any feedback, hence the changes that they've made just this year to support the feedback they're getting from teachers. Any other questions?
Please continue.
All right, so that is Kidim in a nutshell. I will turn it over to teacher statements. I'm not going to read these to you verbatim, but these are directly from our teachers and our math specialists, so you can get a feel for things that have worked thus far this year. Our implementation has already started a little bit. Because of the pilot, our math specialists have already received Kidim training back in August so that they could be of support to our teachers this year. They continue to share their resources, so their development with Kidim is still growing. Kidim will be providing PD as needed. And then they also host office hours. So anybody is welcome to join Kidim's office hours to get support, ask questions, have a community of support. So our measures of success, Mr. Reimer, I think this was one of your questions, was continuing to monitor math data. So looking at our informal measures, our unit assessments, benchmarks, SOLs, providing training and support as the needs arise, using our PLCs, our planning meetings to review instructional materials to choose the most appropriate and aligned material, and then of course, student and family feedback.
Up next is secondary math. Secondary math is requesting to expand its current use of MathSpace. Currently, we use only MathSpace Skills, which allows students to access practice problems. However, Skills is limited to just the practice problems component. As stated earlier, MathSpace is the only instructional resource that was approved for use from the state for all secondary math courses. We're requesting physical materials for teachers and digital access for students. Digital access for students will allow them to access materials from their Chromebook. However, similarly to what Kim said with Kidim, it's important to note that teachers will have the ability to physically print materials for students, as many teachers use that modality in the classroom. Absolutely, when you go into math classrooms in secondary, you see students and teachers working quite often in print. This purchase would also include professional development for teachers with the product. We received quotes for 3 different purchasing options there, a 3-year quote, a 5-year quote, and a 7-year quote. So just to look at those same numbers at a 5-year cost, the 3-year option equals out to $30,296 a year. The 5-year is $25,391, and the 7-year is $21,402 a year. We're hoping for the 5-year option to allow time to see how it supports student learning with consistent use.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vaughn.
I may. Do we have set guidelines for the teachers in terms of using print or not using print? Or have we just said at your discretion, do what you believe is most effective?
We have not set forth guidelines specifically, no. At the high school, what I will say that you see is that all classrooms use calculators, like a 4-function handheld calculator now, while students are learning first beginning skills. And then during the assessment component, that's when they rely on the computers. So that's the guidance that we've been giving folks, is to get students to first learn the math in the foundational period, more like in a more, for lack of a better term, old school way, but then to do the assessment.
That doesn't offend me.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Then to do the assessments in a platform that's most similar to how they'll have to take the SOLs. That's the guidance that they've been given. That's not necessarily written down, but that's what we discuss as best practice.
Okay, so if that's, my question is, if you have through School of Hard Knocks research, whatever you want to call it, learned best practice, why would we not make that part of this is how we want this taught? Rather than, I'm just devil's advocate here, you've got one classroom teaching one way, one teaching another. Are they getting the same thing?
Well, that's part of the reason why we're coming to ask for this resource, is because presently the teachers don't have anything to standardize themselves by. So by providing them such a resource, we'll be able to do a better job in making sure that those type of standardization does occur.
I'm just saying, I'm recommending, I would suggest if you have a best practice to, while you're standardizing everything, why not inform the best practice across the board? So that there's no, because, and I think that that helps in terms of, individual teachers. You know, what's the best way to teach this? You know, and if you've got that guideline that says this is how we want it taught,
And when it's appropriate to use paper versus when it's appropriate to use digital.
just a,
Dr. Nichols.
I didn't want to jump in the conversation, but I wanted to, I think that is a natural next step and a recommendation that we can take forward as we standardize it with the text that we're using to also standardize what it looks like in the classroom. So I'm quite certain that this team can take that on.
thank you.
I have a question. So there's obviously a cost benefit to the 5 year, right? But 5 years is also a very long time. So if there's a shift in a standard or a shift in curriculum, are we now boxed into math space for 5 years and have to do something additional later on potentially?
So to the program, yes, but that's one of the reasons why having electronic access for students is a good idea, because they can live update. So the teacher resources that are print, yes, those are stagnant, but they just could always be reprinted. But
Right.
yeah, but assessments for students, they can live update those things.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Ryan.
Piggyback onto that question. I think there's also a risk the standards change so much that the tool is no longer aligned. What do you have any idea of what kind of risk that is? I mean, we have seen since I've been on the board here, the standards change dramatically and tools that we used before no longer apply, right? So are we relatively confident that this tool can survive the policy change?
The creators of MathSpace have been highly adaptive. So I know that you all are super familiar with the consortium that we're a part of. They actually worked with the consortium to make a specific pacing guide for that consortium. So I mentioned that just to say that what we have seen of them thus far is that willingness to be highly adaptive. Now, we are in an atypical time for standard updates because it used to be that they would be updated at a certain frequency and that everything wouldn't be updated at once. But that sort of went out the window not too terribly long ago. Thus, I don't believe that anything would happen in that 5-year window, which is one of the reasons why I would be gun shy towards 7, because 7 years, I do think we would be in that area, but I couldn't see anything happening within 3, not knowing that somewhere between now and that 3-year period, the state also has to get us list for science and history still too. I think they'll be so busy with those things, they won't have time to worry about these. I think.
So history says that that's 5 years is a safe, you feel is
7
a safe.
years.
Every 7 years is new standards typically.
Okay.
Dr. Nichols.
I just want to make one more point on 5 year. It's not lost on me. This is a math thing and my math's not going to add up. But the 5 year also almost allows us to get a 6th grader entering into middle school math and math space through their high school career with consistency. Back to your standard and best practices question, Mr. Vaughn. That 5 year allows that student to have that trajectory with the same type of curriculum that stacks and is vertically aligned.
Mr. Chair, I think that consistency is really important and that continuity that you're talking about. One of the big arguments has been that there hasn't been consistency and that teachers kind of picked and choose what they wanted to set up their lesson plans. And the push has been for high quality instructional materials that are uniform so that, like you said, students are getting the same quality in every classroom. I think that's the trend, and I don't think that that's going away. And I would imagine that something like MathSpace has taken that into consideration. So I think we'll be pretty safe. And it's math. It's not going to change a whole lot. But the expectations, I think, are greater now for that continuity and higher level instructional materials that are used. A lot of people, for example, will go to Teachers Pay Teachers to find lessons. That's not what we want our teachers to be using. We want them to be using evidence-based, science-based materials in their instruction to improve the quality of the instruction.
See, that wasn't my concern as much as how the individual teachers were teaching, how the students were receiving, and with continuity, not of subject, but of teaching.
And with all due respect, I've seen the way math taught change dramatically. That's during my
100 years.
Please continue.
All right, we can go to the next slide. This is my slide that includes the teacher statements, the measures of success, as well as the implementation plan. Measures of success are largely similar to what Kim had shared as well. Data points including SOLs, the benchmarks from CIP, common assessments, and PLC data reviews. Also, of course, we'd be looking at usage reports to help us to verify that that standardization actually is occurring, and getting feedback too from teachers and also from our kids and from their families. But one of the things I wanted to share about Matt's, we went to a conference and was so excited by the product that she came back and asked us first, hey, could I get a component of this? And it was the skills that she asked for. This was back in the winter of like 23/spring 2024. So first we started with just her because she wanted to be able to try it out. Then it expanded to all of the middle school. And then when the high school saw what the middle school was doing, they asked for it too. So the fact that it was something that was organic, that actually came from our staff, just says that they'll have a significant amount of buy-in. They already have the buy-in for the product going into it. If this requested expansion does happen, then what our hope would be is that by this spring or the end of the school year, before the end of the school year, we'd like to be able to grant early access of materials to all of the returning teachers so that they can review it. Now, MathSpace has gone ahead because they know that we're interested in this and opened up a sandbox account for the teachers so they can sort of poke around and see.
Good marketing ploy.
It is a good marketing ploy. But of course, the full access they don't have yet. And then in the summer of 2024, right before the school year begins, that's when the full onboarding would happen for all secondary staff.
That's it. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
Ms. Hutchinson, that's very important to know and to hear.
Yeah.
That it was, this wasn't something that was being force fed,
Yeah, no, I
but
think
it was sought. So thank you for,
Yeah.
that's very important.
You're welcome. All right, up next is my perspectives with just the English option for secondary. Did I bore you? So my perspectives is there were three different English vendors who the VDOE had approved for use in secondary English. We had all three of them come to the county to do presentations in December, and our entire team was just unanimous in selecting my perspectives as their top pick. It was largely due to two different areas, and that was the complexity of the text that they utilized, as well as the rigor of assessments that were provided within the platform. My perspectives would bring a litany of different things along with it. Physical materials for teachers, curriculum maps by grade, assessments, incorporated reading and writing components, vetted text sets with Lexile scores included, which would help to help staff to be able to make sure that the reading that students are given is at the level of rigor that they deserve to have. Teachers here again too would be able to print materials for student use in the classroom. But something that I think is really unique about the Math Perspectives option is that the instructional materials that go along with it are not just for, like if you think about textbooks that you used to have back in the day, it's not just for the resources that are within the textbook, but they have a lot of instructional materials that go alongside novels that we're all very familiar with that are already often taught in classrooms. So things like To Kill a Mockingbird and The Outsiders. So again, here, it's not that students are intended to be reading just off of this digital platform, but they would still have textbooks in hand. It's just that now teachers have vetted highly qualified instructional materials to go alongside books that we may already have available to us. This is a big lift. As you can see there under current use, the last time that an adoption occurred for secondary English was in 2005. There was an opportunity for an adoption back in 2014. However, at that time, the English teams that were here declined a full textbook adoption and instead asked to expand their classroom novel selections. Thus, this would be a major opportunity for the kids and for the staff in the area of support. Again, the adoption options are listed there, and just because for me it helps to look at things by year as well. For the 3-year adoption option, what that really amounts to by year is $60,771. The 5-year comes to $47,381 per year, and the 7-year option is $44,202 per year. Again, for many of the same reasons mentioned before with math, preference would be the 5-year adoption, thinking that this is around the same adoption cycle, thinking that it would give us the opportunity to see how this product impacts students over the longevity.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Cunha.
just to be clear, this is not going to take the place of full novels that are read within the class, within the school year, right? It's a supplement to teach skills, various skills.
So absolutely. There are short stories, poems, shorter things like that, which are not currently in print in a book room in the high school or the middle school. Largely right now, the practice for that is that teams get together and determine what's a good poem or a good short story for us to be able to read. And they do have access to a score that will help them to know the Lexile levels of things that they find independently. This resource would give them more targeted short story list and poetry list, which would be helpful because sometimes you do have a student who says, oh, I read that in 9th grade. Oh, I read that last year in 8th grade. And it's so, the line between the two levels is so minute that could happen. So it would be good with sort of having everybody know what sandbox they're playing in. But that doesn't mean that it's a fixed concrete list. Like within the novel sets, there's many more novels than what a teacher could ever teach that have been vetted and have instructional resources that go alongside them to support in the classroom. So
Which you already have, correct?
oh, yes. Yeah, we already have the novels in place, and we would have there, I am sure to come up this that teachers might say, oh, I hadn't thought about that novel in this grade level. Do we have the opportunity to be able to get a classroom set of those? And typically that's something that could be worked out. But many of these novels, these are things that they already have. I know when I was looking through some of the ones they had, my son's in 6th grade, he read A Wrinkle in Time this year. And that's one of the ones that they already have the instructional materials for in this product. It's just something else that would be able to support the kids and the teachers too.
Mr. Chairman.
Your Honor.
So our curriculum isn't heavily AP based. We use dual enrollment as our preferred advanced English.
At the high school level.
Yes.
In 11th grade and 12th grade, yes, we have added an AP 10 course. It's a seminar course.
I said that.
Yeah.
So the question I was going to ask is, how does this support those classes as well as the standard classes?
So dual enrollment is completely governed by RCC.
That's
so
what I thought.
Yeah, so that one would be largely untouched. I can't imagine those teachers would have access to this material. So if there was something that they were interested in, I'm sure that they could.
But it's not necessarily something that would
Here for them.
they would be required to use.
Correct. Yeah, and the same way too with that AP seminar course, College Board has
Yeah.
a pretty robust website for support to that as well. Same thing if there were something here that might be beneficial that the teacher finds that they'd like to utilize, but it would not be to replace.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So last spring, samples again of those 3 VDOE approved instructional materials were shared with the high school. So that means a year ago is when the English and the the English middle school and high school teachers originally got to look at the samples, just because we heard early rumblings of this. So I asked people for things early to be able to look at them early. That continued into this year as teams were formed to hear presentations and make recommendations. Again, if this resource is approved for purchase by you all, we'd hope to have them here before the school year ends so that the staff can become just more familiarized with it. We would monitor success in the same way as mentioned before with data points, usage reports, teacher feedback, and student and family feedback as well. I am not naive at all to the fact that this is a massive request, but I think that the last statement that's written there from one of our teachers explains the why the best. Our students need strong reading, writing, and analytical skills to be competitive beyond high school. My perspective intentionally builds those transferable skills. My perspective also aligns with our district's commitment to rigorous instruction, data-informed decision-making, and equitable access for all learners.
Next slide, please.
Mr. Vaught.
Are these in total curricula available for review by the board
Yes.
members?
Yes.
Not only the one you've selected for the English, but the others that you looked at.
So I may have some samples. I know I've probably get into at least some of your demo. Like
I don't want to create,
Yeah.
if it's not there, it's not there,
Yeah.
and that's fine. And it's not that I don't trust implicitly what you're doing. It's more curiosity than it's in.
I do have, for the English ones in particularly, the rubrics that we use with the feedback from individuals that when you guys come over to look at them, I'd be happy to talk through just what it was that they had seen that was so impressive to
Yeah.
them and see if I could find in between some of the components that were shared then.
And we also have the alignment tools for all of the curriculums to show where they were aligned versus where they weren't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
So-
Mr. Chair.
Next step,
Sure.
just as you were saying, although with a slight change, curriculums are available, not at the Heritage Library, but at our office. And with that change, we are keeping them available until mid-April. There is a QR code with them to provide feedback for anybody who wishes to do so. We are happy to welcome any of you guys when you would like to come visit. Feel free to schedule an appointment with us. We will come back for a second read and hopeful adoption in April, and then hopefully begin purchasing right after that so that we can get these materials in teachers' hands before they leave, whether that be electronic access or physical, before they leave for summer vacation. And then we will schedule professional development to align with our pre-service times.
One other question.
Mr. Ryman.
Annie, is this already part of the budget?
Yes, sir, and I just said that during my textbook presentation. Our fund balance currently is $818,613.64. And I do believe that might go up a little bit with the transfer, and depending on which fiscal year these expenses will be in. But we definitely do have the funds, if you look at the 5-year, to purchase all of these.
5-year is,
So total cost of 5 years is $399,504.66. It's less than half part of it.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, Dr. Nichols, you are up now, sir. Last item on new business is change to the school board meeting calendar.
Yes, sir, and this is a quick one. Board members, we've had to shift schedules due to weather and other factors. We currently have a board meeting on April 14th. The will of the board is to schedule a work session. There are items that the board may like to discuss in a work session, so we would add a meeting April 28th at 6 p.m. So I'll be happy to ask any questions. I believe Ms. Davis did reach out for availability, but that would come before you for a vote.
Thank you, sir. And then you're up again, sir. School board review, school board goals review and update.
Yes, sir. Be really quick. So Project New Kent Elementary School, we had a joint meeting with the board supervisors where New Kent Elementary was a priority project. I feel like we've got some traction on that. While it may potentially be in a new close location, I do think the conversation is productive and we have some momentum. I followed up with Mr. Hathaway today as part of our monthly meeting, and he feels the same way. So our goal on our side is when the funding plan is approved, we're ready. So Mr. Hathaway does have a funding plan in his version of the county administrator's budget. So I think those are all very productive signs about moving this project forward. So thank you, board members, for your advocacy and support of the project. Strategic planning update, I was yielding that for our curriculum focus. That is goal 1 with achievement for students. So I don't have any further talk about that. Next month, we will be talking about goal 2, which is all our recruitment and retention work that Ms. Anderson leads. And policy review and revision, I shared those policies with you. Our policies are up to date on board docs, and upon approval, we will shift these new policies to replace the old policies. So, and just as we get good with that, we will shift to a new platform. So
Great.
those are my reviews and updates.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nichols. And now we are on to items for the vote of consideration, which is Ms. Dombrowski's motion earlier on the agenda, reading revolution. Ms. Dombrowski, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At our last meeting, I introduced this project and it was suggested that I reach out to the elementary PTSOs for funding. Before doing that, I learned that we currently have $2,000 remaining in the school board's professional development account. I am requesting this evening the approval to use $500 of those funds so that every child in all 3 of our elementary schools can create a reading revolutionary bookmark. I've calculated the costs and I have a sample bookmark and a spreadsheet outlining those expenses that fully covers materials for all students. If any board members are interested in reviewing those, I am respectfully asking for the board's consideration in this project.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Reimer.
I think it's very inappropriate to treat our travel fund as a personal fund where we can do side projects that aren't budgeted. Any of that money should go back to the that isn't spent should go back to the general fund. I purposely do not use that money because I feel like our school right now is under financial pressure and I feel guilty even using it for what it was originally budgeted for. I think we discussed this issue at an earlier meeting and discussed what would happen to the money if we were not used it. And Ms. Haney advised us that it would go, Ms. Morheim advised us that it would go back to the general fund if not used. And I think that we should continue that policy.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vaught.
Yeah, I don't see this. I wasn't here. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend the last meeting, but we have taken funds from that and allocated them for other activities in the school, if I recall. I think some of the funds went to the athletic.
No, that's
uniforms or whatever. And I don't view this as a personal request. It is an educational request for a bookmark to commemorate 250 years and to encourage students to read. As I look at that, I don't think that you could spend money in a better way than to encourage.
Well,
Now, excuse me. Now, as I have come to understand this whole process, I don't think that as a board, we need to get net deep in the implementation or the process. I think that should be passed off to the parent teacher organizations or historical historic societies, whatever. But $500 to encourage not only artwork, creativity, and reading, I don't have a problem with that.
Chairman,
Reimer.
I'm more than willing to donate money toward this, personal money. I just don't think it's appropriate to donate school money
To school?
for this particular project.
So let me make sure I hear what you're saying. You don't think it's okay to donate, which is not donate, by the way, it would be designate $500 of school money to school education.
I specifically don't think it's appropriate to designate $500 from this fund. If we wanted to go and change the budget and take $500 out of the budget for this, that's a little bit different. But I do not like this trend of thinking that this money is there for us to designate in a particular fashion. And like I said, I'd be more than willing to contribute to any of the PTOs that were raising money for this. I do not think this is a bad idea. I just don't like the proposal about how it's being funded.
So it's principle over, your issue is not the amount, your
No.
issue is principle.
Yes,
So withholding possibility and opportunity, you're gonna stand firm on principle, personal principle on how school money is spent in schools.
once again, if we vote to change the budget and add a line item out that says we're going to spend $500 on this, that's different than saying we're going to take it out of the travel budget or the training budget.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bradford.
in May,
Yes, principle matters.
on May 19th, last year, Mr. Pagano made the suggestion that we, to some degree, reallocate the school board budget. At that time,
Well, let me interject so that we're clear for the record.
I'm still speaking.
Not the school board budget, the professional development fund.
I was getting to that. The line item reads school board budget allotment. At that time, it was discussed a reallocation, so to speak. There was, prior to the recommended budget in FY26, on the professional development line item, it said 3,500. This is all recommended for FY26. Travel board services, 2,500. Meal board services, 850. So a discussion ensued at that May meeting, at which time, according to the minutes, there were concerns made, and it was determined that one thing it was suggested maybe we could use it for a scholarship or make an annual donation to support athletic teams. I had a question about whether that was kind of legal. Dr. Nichols said he would check into that, and Mr. Pagano stated that he would gather information and put it before the board so that we could move forward with the dispensing of funds. on June 2nd, 2025, as Ms. Haney was presenting. And at that night, we approved amendments to the approved budget adoption. And on the one-page document that's included on that agenda, it states that there would be a deduction of $2,500 from the travel board services, that we would then have $850 in contingency board services, and that the athletic supplies would be receiving a $2,000 donation. Ms. Haney mentioned Ms. Spiak would be very happy. There was additional discussion. I asked, does that mean that this could change every year where it goes? Or is it just always going to go there? Ms. Morheim, any line item in the budget could be changed by you all through the budget conversations that we're having. She continues, so again, if you find there's a need for XYZ program or a different event or something, we could have those conversations, shift those budget line items, and we can do transfers during the year. Mr. Pagano, so we're supporting the district and the budget as a whole by reallocating these unused funds that we have, putting them back into the budget as opposed to doing what we had or talked about before and supporting this team, or that team, student, or that student. Ms. Morheim, if there were a need that were to arise, if you felt like another department needed additional funds, that would be something that we could look to bring a transfer request to you. I realize this is not a need. Nobody came to me and said, hey, we could really use something like this. This is an idea that I had. I'm not just a school board member. I'm a member of the New Kent Historical Society. I've been on the PTSO for the last 4 years as a teacher appreciation chair. I'm a member of Daughters of American Revolution, and I love American history. I came up with this idea. Why would I pass it off and suggest to the PTSO that they take on this initiative that I came up with? It's clear that we have set a precedent of allocating funds. I don't understand why this is being treated as such an improper thing. I'm simply asking for consistency and the opportunity to support a program that I believe would benefit our students and help our teachers after the SOLs during that time of year when they're trying to keep kids entertained before they let out for school. So there is no $2,500 in our budget for travel expenses. That was already removed and changed. And by the way, it is a requirement according to code, according to our norms and protocols, and according to policy that we are required to obtain professional development training.
None of our required professional development training requires funds.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Stevens.
for what it's worth, I agree with a lot of the comments that Mr. Vaught has already made, so I'm not going to repeat what he said. I think that this is, again, it goes along with this special occasion of 2026, the commemoration of our 250th anniversary. At last meeting I had requested, and I'm sure that they're working on this, for the division to share what activities and events will be going on. And I know it's not our position, our place to tell you what those activities should be. But certainly I think that this is worth the $500. It's an activity that could go along with this initiative to celebrate the semi-quincentennial. It's not a whole lot of money. And again, anything to support literacy is worth it to me. That's all I have to say.
I have some comments on this subject that are sort of from two different perspectives. The first is protocol. So what happened this evening is not proper protocol on how to add an item of consideration onto an agenda as a new item as voted on unanimously by this board. We failed to meet notice requirements. And items of consideration, if we're putting it on the agenda tonight, is designed for us to vote on whether or not in the future we actually want this on an agenda. So you have some protocol and some notice issues, in my opinion. This was also addressed and discussed at the last meeting and determined, as far as I recall the record, to no longer be a school board concern. This is a personal initiative, or a PTO, or was suggested to be something that the PTO or a third party could get behind. My issue at that time is the same issue I have tonight, which is this is not our job. It is the job of the school district, the teachers, and the administration to determine what they're doing, how they're celebrating a 250th anniversary, which is super important. I'm not saying that that's not important at all, but I think we're in the weeds. As a school board body, we are a body of 5 individuals, no personal individual initiatives. We are a school board body of 5. We are governance and oversight. We are not what happens in the classroom. We are not purchasing stickers. We are not telling people how to run the school. We have signed contracts with these people where we have given them the duty and the responsibility to do that. We have norms and protocols. We have a code of conduct where we turned over the administration of the school and the daily activities in the classrooms to these people who are the experts that know best. It's our job to oversee that. It's our job, like as Ms. Cunha just suggested, to make sure those things are happening. Let the school and the admin and the teachers show us we are actually celebrating the 250th anniversary. We are reading books. We are having special occasions. I think we're in the weeds where we're asking the professional development fund that's been allotted to the school board, whatever may remain of that, to go buy stickers. I mean, I didn't sign up to be elected to do that, right? We are, again, a body of governance. We sit above all of this, and it's our job to make sure that it's run properly. It's our job not to run it on a daily basis with boots on the ground. That's their job. That's our experts' job. I think this creates a slippery slope. I don't necessarily agree with the comment that we've set a precedent last year. Last year was the first time we discussed openly whether or not, since we didn't use all of the funds dedicated for our professional development, as to whether or not we could donate them to the athletics or buy uniforms or so on. In my recollection, obviously, Mr. Dombrowski just read the record, but my recollection of the event was we could do that, but it got sticky, and the best way to do it is to put it back into the general fund, and the budget people can allocate what happens to the money, not necessarily us. So I think it creates a slippery slope. If we're going to say, hey, and $500 is not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination, but if we're saying, hey, we're going to take $500 to buy stickers and do bookmarks and celebrate this thing, what's next? When does it end? What's the appropriate use of this money? The money is allocated for professional development. So if we use all the money, and by the way, there's 9 months left in the year, and all of us want to go pay $300 to take the class, where's that money come from now? If we spent it all on other projects and other initiatives, right? I don't know.
Mr. Chair,
Please.
if I may ask Dr. Nichols a question. Isn't that a fiscal year and doesn't that end in July 1st?
Yes, ma'am. So we'd have July 1 as the new year. So you still have 3, I can't do math right now. You have the months till July.
Have to get the new math curriculum involved.
I will, yeah.
And if I may
Math
also
rules,
state, adding an item to the agenda can be done at a meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order.
Yes.
The reason you just said it could not. Because I wasn't following protocol.
It's not what I said. I said we voted on as a board unanimously how we get an item of consideration on.
And before that, you said the way it was done this evening was not allowed.
No,
You said something to that effect.
Yes, and I stand by that.
It is allowed.
Under Robert's Rules of Orders, which by the way, we don't follow to the T, and we again voted unanimously as a board, all 5 of us, including yourself, how we put items of consideration on an agenda.
And the reason I brought it up was because it was suggested to me that we have used this before and perhaps we could use it again. there is not enough time, or I'm at a crunch time. I learned of this just last week. I'm not trying to create a problem. I'm trying to help kids make a bookmark.
I don't think it's appropriate for a school board member to help kids make a bookmark.
So as a school board member, I'm being disallowed to have any other involvement in the schools because I'm on the school board. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think anybody said that. And my opinion can differ from yours, but as we stated before, and I sent you in an email where we were trying to get this issue resolved, if the board votes as a majority rules, end of story. I don't have to agree with what you're doing, just like you don't have to agree with what I'm doing. If the board votes that they want to do this, well, then that's what we're going to do with the money. I don't think it's a good idea. Everybody else has stated their opinion. This one is mine. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns on this topic? All right, Mr. Nichols, we're moving on, sir. Unfinished business. Ms. Morkheim, budget.
Mr. Chair, board members, Dr. Nichols, we all did attend a joint work session with the Board of Supervisors on Friday. Thank you for your participation. You did receive a budget book at that work session. That budget book will be published this evening, so by tomorrow morning, it will be on our website for the general public. As you're aware, the county did make a recommendation, the county's recommended budget, same as we have, except that it's a little bit off in what our ask for 1.2. They included a $500,000 transfer.
Now, Ms. Morgan, I've had some mail failures tonight, so that's way more than a little off of the request. So thank you for being kind.
So with that being said, and this really is just one slide out of Dr. Nichols' presentation on Friday, so it looks familiar to you all. We wanted to share it with our team, what that looks like, just to try to close that gap a little bit. So that's just some conversations that we're gonna have to start having with the team. I did point out and wanted to make sure you guys are aware that this team did do an excellent job in going through their budget lines, finding savings to reallocate for different initiatives to the tune of $351,433. We did reallocate a teaching position, so we do try to do these things to fill in gaps of things that are needed. 84% of our budget is salary and benefits, so that's a big part of what you're going to see as what this team would have to consider for cuts. This is a list that we put on the table. It equals $700,000. I guess we can talk about it, or we just wanted to really share it with you and the public and our team, just so that folks really understand kind of what they're allocating, what we're trying to hopefully receive from the county, how to have those conversations with your board of supervisor. Feel free to speak publicly, anything that you can do. This is really what we're talking about.
Mr. Chair.
If I may add.
Oh, sorry.
Dr. Nichols.
Just to add what Haney said, I wouldn't choose any of these, but at the end of the day, I have to bring a balanced budget to you. And we're a people business, so it's hard to make these cuts without involving physicians. So this is one way, but there's another way in continuing to advocate with our counterparts. So I had a meeting with Mr. Hathaway this morning and did exactly that and kind of went through, and I think we made some headway together. But for you with your counterpart to say, this high school assistant principal and gifted resource teacher have been on here for the third year in a row. And we continue to grow in both populations. At some point, we're not going to be able to provide the services we need to provide because we keep continuing to cut. to balance. We're already incredibly lean. I worry about all of these. The fuel one is in there, but if you check the price of fuel today versus 3 weeks ago, it's as volatile for us as it is for you personally. So just we're hopeful for some revenue changes in the final state budget, but it's not going to close that gap. And we have other compensation priorities for teachers that we'd like to do. So there's a lot undone in this budget. And there'll be no easy way or way that we won't be impacted to cut it. So I guess for us to have that conversation with you, but also we're not done. So families, please continue to advocate over our behalf. Board members, please continue to work with your counterparts on the need to be, even at 1.2 million, there are still going to be unmet needs. So we don't give anybody an inflated budget and hope for less, and we'll be able to make it work. We give you a needs-based budget with extensive cuts already built in. So, and that work doesn't happen without the incredibly talented Annie Morheim, who leads us through this process. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. One thing you will see, hopefully in the upcoming months, we will be talking about some one-time transfers. There are some things supply-wise or equipment or things that did not make it into the recommended budget that are definitely things that we want to do for our employees. So those requests may be coming through a one-time transfer request. We're looking for things in this budget specifically that could potentially be funded with one-time money. There's not a lot there, but every little bit would help. I would love to keep the fuel where it is. I would love to have some type of a contingency line. This won't be the year for that, but I'll keep saying that.
We look toward you to be the great magician.
Step change. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any comments on prioritization of any of these items. We will certainly continue to follow the state budget. We'll certainly continue to have conversations with the county and try to just close this gap.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more.
Yeah, Nichols.
I just want to make the point publicly and for any staff member, none of these are real people.
Right.
These are new positions because of growth and things. So if we make that cut, there's not a person attached to that cut. We can recruit somebody to fill it. I can guarantee you that, but there's not one there right now. So we have these positions in the organization. I just want to make the point that nobody is losing. We're fortunate there are other localities that are cutting real people to balance budgets. We're cutting positions that are needed. So,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vaught.
Conversely to that, the reality is that we as a county are still experiencing tremendous growth. New housing developments going in as a whole. So the need to make those real people is paramount. We are, the growth in the county is not going to slow down. It doesn't look like it at any point in time. There's no mechanism that the supervisors that I understand have put in place to curb the growth that's going on right now. So I have already talked to my representative and we have a planned meeting. I encourage everyone, I know, most of you do, but this is so important that they understand these. Yes, I understand they're not real people, but with the growth that we're experiencing, unless you want classrooms with 35, 40 students in them, we need these positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. All right, moving on to the citizen comment period. We have a community member who signed up. So before we begin, thank you for coming out tonight to speak. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Once the timer sounds, please promptly finish your comment, return to your seat. It is customary for the school board not to make comments during this period. Please make sure, and I think it is already there, your contact information is on the sign-up sheet. Thank you again for coming. Ms. Christina Luntzer.
This is perfect timing. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Board, and Dr. Nichols. My name is Christina Luntzer, and I have the honor of raising 3 daughters here in New Kent County, one at each level. my youngest at New Kent Elementary. I am blessed to watch the development of my oldest, who is a sophomore, truly and is truly twice exceptional. She requires specially designed instruction with an IEP due to her dyslexia and dysgraphia, and in reading as well, she requires specially designed instruction for her gifted needs. Recently, after navigating some post-asynchronous learning issues, it was brought to my attention that the high school doesn't employ a gifted teacher. And seeing as though the middle school gifted teacher currently supports over 100 students, I would strongly encourage you all to address this need in the budget. According to the Virginia Administrative Code, we are fulfilling all 6 requirements here in the division with AP courses, honor classes, governor school, dual enrollment. So the gifted teacher is often overlooked. As a national board certified educator who has maintained my certificate, the 2014 National Adaptive PE teacher, and with more than 24 years of educational experience, I believe our gifted population at the high school is missing out on the following items without the gifted instructor. Implementation of specially designed curriculum that supports what is already being offered in the approved coursework. Push and support by a highly qualified, not just certified, gifted instructor within the AP and honors classes, not the same as what's being delivered right now. And highly knowledgeable advocate to support the student who is gifted and twice exceptional. The advocacy would be seen at IEP meetings, ECA meetings, course enrollment planning for the upcoming year. There's a host of wonderful educators at the high school doing a remarkable job. To name a few, Ms. Terry, Ms. Saito, Ms. Biak, and Ms. McDonald. However, I believe they are helping me build a unique plane while we are flying it at the expense of my daughter meeting her potential. And this is no longer acceptable. If it's not okay for my child, it's not okay for any child in New Kent County. I encourage the board to fill a gifted position at Clinton Elementary and add a high school gifted instructor. Can you imagine the task of a special ed teacher having 100 students to fulfill their unique needs? And gifted education is special education and requires specially designed instruction to ensure that the services our gifted population is met with well. I am certain of 2 things. My vision for the high school was modeled extremely well with Mr. Drake and Ms. Collins at the middle school, and our gifted students who continuously leave our system and soar at the collegiate level are worth every dollar we invest in them. Looking at all the Beta awards tonight, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lunsford.
Ms. Lunsford's also a beta mom.
All 3.
Yeah,
All
I
good.
thought she was gonna leave that in the comments. I just wanted to bring it back home.
Thank you very much. All right, board, we are on to item 10, which is our action items. These are up for consideration by us tonight. So the first one is the textbook transfer and appropriation as presented by Ms. Morgheim. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Cunha has the motion. Mr. Reimer has the second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer. Aye. Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Mr. Brodsky.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Picard.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Our second motion is the update to the school board calendar to add the April 28th work session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Vaught has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Reimer has the second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Mr. Brodsky.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Picard.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And the last action item is the allocation of $500 from the school board professional development fund to the Reading Revolution Initiative as presented by Ms. Dombrowski. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Cunha has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dombrowski has the second. Mr. Clerk, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Nay.
Mr. Vaught.
Yes.
Mr. Brodsky.
Yes.
Ms. Cunha.
Yes.
Mr. Pagano.
Nay. Motion passes 3-2. All right, comment section. Mr. Reimer.
So it was very rewarding to hear the achievements of our students once again at the beginning of our meeting. In particular, I am inspired by the number of students that were able to achieve national recognition beta program. And our student athletes are remarkable, I think, and a tribute to the good work of the staff here at the school. In order to maintain kind of achievement that we see in our students, we're going to have to do a better job of providing reliable funding for a growing program. And I worry about that a lot. I also worry about the future of our students because this next generation is going to face some of the biggest challenges we've seen in our history, I believe. With the rise of AI, jobs in the white collar industry are disappearing rapidly. So a lot of our college bound are going to be faced with a finding that what they may have trained for is no longer going to be available to them for work, and they're going to have to be able to adapt. As robots become more capable, unskilled labor may find similar kinds of issues. Our focus here has always been on creating a student that can live in an advantage. We recognize that post-secondary education isn't for everybody. We recognize that skills are important, and we recognize that the military is a legitimate path for a career. And we encourage students to pursue any of those endeavors. But today we're going to also have to tell them you need to learn and learn to be adaptable, because that's the world you're going to be facing. And I feel like we're doing as good a job as we can right now, and not too bad a job compared to other schools, but focusing on those priorities and having enough resources to be able to teach that to our students, I think is a very important mission. And that's what I have my sights on, and that's what I'm hoping to help this school accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Vaught?
I echo Mr. Reimer's congratulations to the student achievement through beta, through athletics, through academics. Thank you to Ms. Lawler, Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Miller. I know that the curriculum piece is difficult. I know you've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy bringing what is probably the best curriculum for our students. It's exciting. I look forward to learning more about it. But thank you for everything that you do, the importance of that. I am glad to be back, honored to serve, and look forward to what's ahead of us and getting this budget passed and increased. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught. Ms. Dombrowski?
Before I begin, I want to note that I'm reading for a prepared statement because what I need to say is difficult, but it's very necessary. The statement was obviously prepared before tonight. It's not about disagreements. I have no problem with being disagreed with. When I joined this board, I fully expected disagreements. I expected challenges. But I did not expect that the greatest challenge that I would face would come from within the board itself. On several occasions, a fellow board member has interacted with me more as an adversary than as a colleague. Over the past 18 months, I have repeatedly experienced dismissive demeaning and critical behavior from this board member, both publicly and privately. While this mistreatment may not have been intentional, it has taken a toll on my well-being and it has made it difficult for me to walk into meetings without feeling very anxious. Because of the way this board member has chosen to respond to my questions and concerns during one-on-one meetings or on the phone, I do not feel comfortable attempting to meet with him privately to address these concerns. Given the various codes, regulations, and structural restraints that limit our ability as board members to address these issues privately, and because this pattern of behavior has continued, I feel it is important to make this matter known publicly. I respect and appreciate everyone at this table, but I need to respect myself. The way I've been spoken to and treated publicly and privately is not acceptable, and I will not tolerate it and remain silent about it anymore. I have tried to learn as much as I can about what it means and how to be an effective school board member. I've made every effort to stay focused on the duties we were elected to fulfill and to follow the codes, policies, and board norms and protocols we agreed upon. In doing so, however, there have been several instances in which when I made a suggestion, raised a concern, or asked questions, my input was dismissed or ignored. Efforts to apply what I've learned through professional development have been repeatedly minimized. I'm no longer able to function effectively this way. I fully recognize I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I believe we could all say the same. But I've done nothing that warrants the mistreatment that I have received over the last 18 months. Let me be clear. I did not want to make this a public issue. Honestly, I'm exhausted and I've reached the end of my rope. I want to maintain a focus on student achievement in New Kent schools. But I will no longer allow this mistreatment to continue. Bullying should not be tolerated in the schools, and it should not be tolerated on this board. Speaking up is the only thing we can do to change. This matter has had a profound impact on me emotionally and mentally. I made a commitment to myself and to those who contributed their time and resources in supporting me. And I would never advise a student or staff member to give up in the face of mistreatment, and I will not do so myself. We have excellent administrators, teachers, staff, and students. They deserve a board that models respect, professionalism, and collaboration. And on several occasions, my experience has not been this case. I'm asking that we recommit ourselves to the norms, protocols, and code of conduct that we all approved. We cannot have strong governance when we are not actively united in obtaining the training required to understand what strong governance entails. We have just over 21 months left in our term. I would like us to move forward in a healthier and more respectful way for the sake of this board, for our staff, and most importantly, for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski. Ms. Cunha?
I just want to thank again Ms. Lawler and Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Miller, Ms. Haney. There's so many people to thank for all the hard work that you do. And know that we appreciate you and we value everything that you contribute in this division. I think it was Susan Dell recently who said, there is no better way to honor America's history than to invest in America's future. I think there are many ways we can honor America's history, but certainly investing in America's future, which includes our children here in New County, is definitely one of the ways. There's so many needs, and funds are limited, but we need to find a way to make sure that those critical needs are met and that we are proactive, because some of those things that you're cutting, if we cut all of them and we keep passing the buck down the line, at some point, they're going to be essential. And then there's going to be a much bigger budget, a much bigger request of money into the county. So we need to kind of tackle these things a little bit at a time each year, understanding that we are a growing county and that we have many needs, and we want to provide all of our students in New Kent County with the best education possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cunha. I also want to thank the team, the administration, all the students tonight, super impressive. And I want to thank my fellow board members. You know, sometimes this job is not easy. We do have disagreements. That's part of the job. That's part of being on a board. It doesn't mean, you know, that we're always going to be unanimous in the things that we do. That's why the board is set up the way it is, and we operate by majority rule. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I am concerned a little bit on the path the board took tonight. I ran for office and was elected to do a couple of things. One of those was to oversee the district, its efficiency, and help guide the cultural and technological influence on education and our children. To me, those focuses today are on a $56 million budget and its shortfall on building a $60 million new elementary school. It should not be, in my opinion, on allocating $500 for bookmarks. That's not what I ran for office to do, and I think that is not the job of the school board. And those are my comments for this evening. Mr. Davis.
Yeah, so I've been a member of Beta for 5 years, 2 years elementary school, 3 years middle school. And actually Ryan Griffith that came up, I was on a team with her 2 years for engineering. Both years we made it to the nationals. I also have several other accomplishments. 3-time state champion actually, in 2 of them being mathematics, 1 of them being social studies, and a top 10 finish at nationals. But anyway, what I'm trying to get here to is that these accomplishments that we see Beta students make really are underappreciated. It's amazing what these students can do. And I've heard from other schools that they don't even have, like they've never even heard of what Beta is or other programs like this. It's programs like Beta, like Chesapeake Bay Governor School, like Bridging Communities that really forms perfect New Kent High School student. I'm grateful for that.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Dr. Nichols.
Yes, sir. It's been a long evening, so I will keep my comments short. I do want to thank everybody that helped set up for the board being down a fourth clerk, and me as your deputy. Takes a lot of a lot of hand holding.
Did a great job.
So
You did.
I also want to say thank you to Ms. Davis for what she does at a board meeting every day, because the level of attention you have to have throughout is different than in the seat. I want to end with I get to work with staff that could choose to go anywhere, any day. And I appreciate you choosing us every day. I get to work with students who inspire me and make me wish I was a better kid. But it's my responsibility to open doors for them so they can do great things for the future. And then I get to work with amazing families and community members that wrap around us that do great things. And no matter what that budget holds, we'll take the step forward. And I wake up every day grateful to serve this amazing county. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. All right, everybody, the next meeting of the school board is a regular session Tuesday, April 14th in this boardroom at 5:30, and our meeting is adjourned tonight at 8:12 p.m. Thank you.